Hi friends, welcome back. I am so excited. You can see by the title, I'm gonna see Lamb today. There are so many movies coming out in October that are coming out later here. So say Halloween, we get that 2 weeks later. Last Night in Soho, we get that a week and a half to 2 weeks later. Titan or Titan, as some people are saying, we don't have that until December, but Lamb. Thank you, A24. You have delivered this film to me a little bit earlier, which I love. I am seeing an advanced screening for media today, and I am so psyched. The trailer or teaser for this film had people waiting and very excited and very scared for the little lambs. The film is about a childless couple who find a newborn on their land that leads them into joy and destruction, the blurb says. The director for this, it's his first feature film, and he actually worked in the cinematography and camera department for a lot of films, so I'm expecting it to be really beautiful, a very beautiful and somber journey. Of course, this is not horror, it will be more of a thriller kind of film. And of course, it's an Icelandic film, so if you didn't think it could get any more beautiful, let's just go to Iceland, which is one of the most beautiful places on earth. IMDb does say that it is a drama, horror, mystery, but as I said, I'm thinking more thriller, but let's go and find out what Lamb is and if it's worth your time, if you should go see this one in the cinema or wait for it to come out on VOD. Let's go. By the way, Gromit's right here. Bye, Gromit. One word. Odd. If you were confused, shocked, and taken aback, surprised by Malignant, babe, Lamb is gonna throw you. It's so weird doing this in the daylight, by the way. I'm sure you guys feel weird about it too. I'm usually doing this at night. I saw 11 a.m. screening of Lamb. I just got out, and I tell you what, I was not ready. I didn't look into this film at all before watching it. I did talk about the blurb at the start, which I think is completely fine. If there's ever a spoiler in a blurb, obviously I won't include it in the final product, but I did not see any of this coming. So Lamb, as I said, is the story of a heterosexual couple who live on a farm, and like out in the beautiful wilderness of Iceland. And one day a newborn comes and changes their lives. The film is absolutely beautiful, which is totally expected. From the very first shot, everything looks like a picture, almost like an oil painting. It's so beautiful, which is to be expected with the director's background as a cinematographer and working in the camera department. It's really not that hard to make Iceland look good anyway. The film is split into chapters, chapter 1, chapter 2, and chapter 3, where the story takes swift changes in not its direction so much, but its feeling and what it's choosing to focus on in that moment. But what is most interesting for me is the main characters of the film, because obviously we have the husband and the wife, but because they're on a farm, there are many animals, and I'm talking about all animals: sheep, lamb, dogs, cats, and it's really, I think, really cool the way that they've captured these animals, because I don't know how they did it, but a lot of them are very expressional, and the story is just as much about the people as it is about the animals, and the messaging is so dire in that way, which is something I was not expecting. The film is also quite silent, which really evens the playing field for the animals to really come through with all of their emotions. I know I'm sounding weird, and this isn't a spoiler or anything. These are just normal animals that really have feelings behind them, and I thought that was really interesting. I will say, because there are a lot of animals involved, if you do want to look up doesthedogdie.com, there are going to be a lot of spoilers, but it might guide you if you're a little bit unsure about watching this film. Because there isn't a lot of dialogue, there is a moving, like, undertone score, which kind of slightly creeps in at moments, but then takes over with some droning for some landscape shots. Also, sorry, on the cinematography before, the big thing in this film is texture, and that's kind of maybe what I meant by the oil painting. You can definitely see a lot of texture and grit in the film. Not grit as in grungy, but definitely, yeah, you can just see a lot of textures. They played with that and lighting and shadows. I had to move my car because of just that. The light was making my windshield get hot. I'm not used to filming during the day, and now my camera's overheating. This is why horror movies are best at night. But speaking of, this film really, I never really want to say that something isn't a horror, because I just don't believe that that benefits anyone, and there's no reason to really have that argument. But I will say that this movie is just very genre bending, and I really don't know where it fits. It's not a super thrilling film. It's quite slow paced. It's maybe more of a drama with horror aspects or thrilling aspects, but it's just a very odd film. And I think sometimes when A24 is involved, where I know that they're distributing this film in America and in North America, but here it's not really connected with the distribution, just to be clear. But I guess with A24 in general, whenever they're included in a film's production, it always ends up a little bit odd, but this has definitely taken the cake for me. As I said, the film is quite slow. It lets the animals and the atmosphere tell the whole story, and sometimes you wish people would say something. I'm sure you guys will know exactly which moment I'm talking about when you watch it, but they don't. It's just a silent film that lets you reflect on what the actual meaning is. And believe it or not, this film does have a pretty deep messaging to it, which again was unexpected. It's about despair. It's about, reflecting on humanity and what we really want and why. There's a lot to it, and it is very dark. It's quite a disturbing film, I think, but it's hard because it's also so odd that it does seem a little bit funny. People did laugh in the cinema, and I have to say, usually I'm not a big fan of that, but in this one, I can totally understand. It's really hard to keep a straight face. Good luck to you. It's just a weird, uncomfortable feeling. As I said before, Lamb is an odd film. I have to say, there was one aspect that really turned me off the film. I'm not going to say what it is, obviously. When you watch it, I'm sure you'll know. And for me, that really changed the whole tone of the movie. And I left feeling like I know the filmmaker's intent, but I'm not exactly 100% down with the execution. I felt like they kind of cheapened out at some points. I'm glad I saw this film, but it's not my favorite by any means. I think Lamb is obviously worth watching. There's going to be so many memes on this film, I'll tell you that much right now. I enjoyed Lamb because of the unpredictable factor. It was an entertaining watch. It was quite slow, but I don't think I loved the film. As I said before, there was an aspect in there that kind of broke whatever spell I was under by the film. It's just a wild ride. What I do commend it for is the way it used animals in the film. I think it was really interesting. I haven't seen a film that's able to capture the characters of each animal. It was like watching Babe, but without talking animals. That's exactly what it felt like. I also thought it was really beautiful and dark what it had to say about humanity itself. I'm going to give the film a 6 out of 10. As I said, didn't love it, but I do think it's worth your time. I really do. It's just such an interesting watch, and I think there's going to be so many memes and jokes and everything about it. So if you want to get in there quickly, I would highly recommend, because there are some very shocking moments that I think a lot of people are going to want to talk about. For scare, I'm going to give it 3 3. It's quite chilling and there's some pretty disturbing moments, but overall it's not really scary. And for originality, I'm going to give it a 9. I have to. It's such an original concept. It really is. Even for the bits I didn't like, I have to say it was quite original and it took me completely off guard. Something that's so interesting about this film is it's so realistic, but then it plays with so many elements that really are hard to swallow, and seeing them in such a beautiful, raw environment like in Iceland is just, it's a great juxtaposition. So yeah, hats off to the cinematography and the way the whole film's set up, and the story itself is just very interesting, but part of the execution just I couldn't get down with, and I don't really think it's one of those films that you're meant to rewatch 100 times by any means. I don't think anyone's going to be doing that for this film. Thank you guys so much for watching and hanging out with me. Let me know if you've seen Lamb, what you thought down below. Please write if there's a spoiler, and then do enter, and then, you know, write your spoiler just to keep it a nice spoiler-free zone for everybody. I hope you're having a fantastic start to your October, and I'll talk to you very soon. Stay spooky, friends. Bye.